Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect and a new series. Today's beverage is a adequately chilled and nicely carbonated soft drink with a name similar to an elevated piece of landscape as well as some water droplets. Either way, welcome back to the game where previously we were finishing off our segregated facility. The idea was to make a facility that housed many different categories of inmate ranging from protective custody, low, medium, high and supermax, and they only interacted with one another when absolutely necessary, which mainly in practice meant in a common central section which was a canteen and a yard. And we split the regime so that they only, interact with one another when absolutely necessary, and it worked for the most part. We couldn't get a full sort of 3-shift system split over 3 sort of 8-hour sections, so yeah, it's because they couldn't sleep in the day. Yes, we could mod it and stuff, but we worked within the limitations of the game, and as I said, overall fairly successful. This is going to be obviously a new facility and a little bit different. Let's just go over to create new prison, and we'll go and do all of our settings, and we'll get some planning done, and we'll see how we get on. So prison gender, we're going to go with a female facility because we haven't done one in quite some time, so it was overdue and people did recommend this, so that's all good. In terms of uniform, we're going to go with, I think, default as well as default colors. We'll come back to the warden and the doggos. World size is small. Funds I'm going to knock up to 50,000 to give us a little bit of breathing room. Plot type will be, I think, default. We did do a snowbound plot in the previous one. I think I'm just going to go with the default, as I said, and we'll just go with the grass and such where necessary. Weather and intensity will be off. Gangs is off. Dynamic reputations, we did run with that previously. We're going to keep that off. Fog of war will also be off just for the sake of your viewing pleasure. Failure conditions will be on. We're going to generate forests. We're not going to have lakes or buildings or warden mode, no. Events and temperature are off. We will, however, go for staff needs. Escape plans are going to go on. Unlimited funds, no. Bureaucracy researched. I'm a bit apprehensive on that one because I do want to unlock certain things early, like the small cells. However, there is a slight problem with that in that I think some of the grants require you to unlock things, and I don't know if they trigger if you just essentially turn everything on by default. So I'm going to keep that off, but that's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's go over to the DLC settings. Jungle Path with Tropical Fever is off. Undead will keep off. Prison Aging, why not? Gangs is certainly off. Weather Intensity and Rat Infestation, the latter, certainly off. Island Bound is all off as well. Criminally Insane Inmates, I'm not going to put on, but I might because we do have a lot of plans for expansion on this. More on that later. And Cleared for Transfer, which is going to be hopefully a big thing on this one, but we shall see. So it's a fairly vanilla sort of run. You can pretty much run this with just the Cleared for Transfer DLC, basically, as far as I can tell, with the odd change here and there. In terms of warden, I'm going to go with maybe Rita. Half the likelihood of prisoners being Stokel or Fearless, and prisoners suppressed twice as quickly. I could go with Safara Aknova, which gives us resale value for contraband, but I'm hoping that's not going to be a massive issue because of the design. Dr. Hudson is emergency services work 20% faster and arrive earlier, and cost for repairs are reduced. Don't need Slugworth. Alexis is suppression rate fade. Captain J locks 30% staff stamina, requires 10% more rest, and minus 10% to prisoner reoffend chance. I'm going to go with Captain J locks because of the stamina, and we have staff needs on, so it sort of leads into that, I think. In terms of the doggo, we could go with the bow tie bandit. We've got in Luna, Blue, Juliet, Companion, which is Grommet from Wallace and Grommet, I think. Dalmatian, Cat. Should we go with cats? Let's go with cats, why not? And let's go with play, and we'll see what it's going to give us. So this is the facility as it stands at the moment. I'm just going to go to pause, I'm going to go to intake, and naturally all of this will be turned off like so. In terms of the categories of inmate, by the way, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to go with. I will probably go with medium. Again, the sort of default option. but we'll see how we get on. So over to objects and right down to the bottom here, we're going to go with dismantle, and then we'll remove all of these trees, and then we're going to go to the other side, and rooms will go with deliveries, which I'm going to just place in here. It doesn't really matter. We'll also change, so we'll have some garbage, so it's like that. No, it's like that. And then finally the exporting tins will go in here, and then we'll remove the other ones like so. That's fine. In terms of planning, we are going to have a perimeter wall around the outside, which is going to go like that. And in terms of the building and the expansion potential, I'm only going to expand to the left, that way. And the idea is that I'm going to build basically a sort of model cell block, and then we can clone it for the most part along to the left. And because it's cleared for transfer, as we go from the right to the left, we should get better cells, more higher graded cells in rooms, and more amenities as we go along. However, as I said, the it will be a watch this space type of thing. What I mean by that is I've had problems with cleared transfer before. So in terms of the cell block, it is going to be sort of something along like those lines, and I'm going to have a bit down the bottom here for staff only, and we will have a sort of central corridor that'll sort of go up there and like this. So maybe if I design two, maybe if we go with the idea of making two, and then we can expand. I don't think three would be enough. The idea is that the inmates will, it's sort of a prison within a prison. They should never leave this area unless they absolutely need to go to a different section. And as I said, the cleared for transfer, we need to make sure that we get that correct. So you set up various conditions, so things like whether they've misbehaved, if they've got good behavior, say 5 days, or no escapes, or not found any weapons or tools, or they've worked, and things like that. All level of different categories for it. And then if they meet that, you can then say yes, they go into a different class, and then we move them over. So we'll see how we get on with this. So this is going to be, as I say, our cells, and the idea is that I want to make, well, I want to make cells so that we have I want the same footprint. This overall footprint should be exactly the same when we clone it. However, the internals might be slightly, and I do stress, slightly different. So we will have common themes within it. So we will have cells, but they will be varying sizes. We will have in... the, let's see, canteen and common room, and probably some sort of parole. We would need that. And what else would we need? Kitchen will probably be in its own section, because I don't know if prisoners are going to work for it, although work would be useful. To have that option. Okay. Well, it's going to be based on the cells that are basically going to start on this top right and then come down. So we can go, if we really wanted to, with a 2x2 cell. The 2x2 cell is the smallest. Actually, it's not the smallest you can make. Technically, it's that, if you really wanted to. And you can have a door, say, there. This requires you to unlock certain things through bureaucracy. And you'll have to say, like, a bed and toilet. And it removes the sizings for cells. Now, naturally, I wouldn't ever make a cell like that, because there's no real point. It doesn't provide you any benefit and any saving of space. However, something like this does. So this would be the lowest category of cell. Now, I'm not building this in terms of this is for punishment. This could be, this could be the smallest one I could go for. However, I'm tempted to not bother, because, as I said, if we were going to clone it, it would be better if we were to have something like that. So then this is your standard 3x2 cell. That's your default, because remember, the cells are graded 1 to 15, 1 being the absolute basic. I don't plan on having a level of punishment. So, for example, using, which people have asked to do, using things like the slum wall, which decreases a cell's grade. I have no intention of purposefully making it negative or low. It just will go from the default further up. But like I say, we can make changes if we deem it necessary. So let's go ahead and get this built. So I want to make it so that the cells are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And we could probably have it come down if I want to. obviously I'm having to think about the sizings. In terms of rooms, I'm just going to do what I did previously, which is make a default room size and say that's going to have something in it. And the something closer to the entranceway, which will be around here, this will have things like visitation and classrooms, anything where you require a teacher to come in, so closer to the entrance here. The ones further up will just be, like, say, I don't know, maybe common room or that sort of thing. However, it also means, like I say, they need to be a minimum size, which is minimum. I'm going to go with 5 by 5. But if I go 6 by 6, I know I'm fairly covered for everything apart from, say, a gym, which is a 7 by 7. So we'll see. Also, as I build this as well, because of the design of this, if I was to do something like this, that's going to be, these are your cells here, and this leads to the outside, which is a bit of a risk. However, I would want to have a gap like this, because this will be outside, so then I can put, if I want to, in here, I can put in the windows, which means there's technically an outside window, and that gives me the option. So I think I'm going to do something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that. So there's like a cell block goes there. I think that's actually too much. Let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should be fine. It also means that when we come down here, as for the other cells, I can then make them 3 by 3. Like that. You see the 3 by 3s fit in nicely. And we can have 3 by 4. Which should just about fit in. Yeah. So the overall size is 3, 6, 9, 12. I think 15 might be the maximum. It might be the maximum, but that there is, again, it means that expansion is sort of covered. Okay, but these won't be that. Obviously, these are going to be the basic ones. The expansion ones will be bigger sizes like that. But again, this gives us option. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I put some more in? I don't think so. I think that should be fine. And even that is probably quite big. But it fits nicely with the rest of this. This one obviously is slightly smaller than this one, so there will be variations. But the 2 by 3 fits in, the 3 by 3 fits in, and the 4 by 3 for the most part fits in. If I was to shrink it down, it would only fit to there. So that's the form factor I'm going to go with. So let's just go with this side, and then it's going to be that, and that is the wall. That's the arbitrary decision that I've made to say that that's going to be where things are. Let's just plan. Actually, yeah, I'll go with this. Right, just so that it sort of reminds me that we are going to have these cells a different size, like that. And obviously, we could keep them all in here like this. It is totally possible. It is fine. The next question is family cells. This is a female facility. You need family cells and you need... Oh. Hang on. Hang on. This is wrong, isn't it? It is. It would be that. Okay, that's not as large as I'd budgeted for. Right. I mean, I could go this. See, the cells are not a problem, but the support buildings that will be there are a problem. If I was to then expand that, that would be too big. Would it? I mean, how many is that? Already, is that too many? Can't believe I sort of did that and it actually fit in. Okay. It is possible. And this does present me with an opportunity doing it this size. Because there's now a middle. There's now a middle to it. Which means that I could have family cells and a nursery. Okay. Okay. Nursery in the past, I have experienced some amount of glitches. Read, it was a nightmare. That didn't work if you had them adjacent to certain objects. It was to do with the doors and stuff like that. I'm hoping that time and patches have fixed it, as well as, yeah, as well. Well, I'm just hoping that they're sorted. However, okay, that is the potential for this, and I could say nursery like this. Nursery and, if I want to do nursery and canteen, and then the sort of common section here. Okay, let's work on this, the premise of that this is what we're going to go with, right? Let's see how we get on with that one. So this is going to come down, and it's going to go across, and come down, and this wants to be 6. All right, 6 across. So across, 6 internal. As I said before, I want to make everything so it's a 6 by something. Well, 6 by 6 is the default for rooms that you need. Well, that wouldn't work. That's going to be a bigger one. Okay. 6 by 6 is the default for a lot of rooms. So we could do that. Over here then. Now the question is, would that work if that was a 6 there? Is that a true 6 by something here? 6 by 6. Is that a true 6 by 6? Or is it not? The reason I'm thinking that is if it is, it means I can make these bigger and then have more rooms on this side, which would be a 4, which is not what I need. But I actually like the idea of that. Okay, I'm going to gamble on these rooms. You know what? Am I just making it hard for myself? I really am. I could shrink these down to a 5. These rooms could be things like a chapel and such. These, I'm just going to say, it's going to be visitation. Again, I'm just going, it'll be something. It'll be fine. Okay, no, it's these rooms here that are causing me some worry. And I've just sort of made this arbitrary decision around here that there's going to be a gap. I haven't really talked about this bit, actually. The plan I had was that I think they would come down. This would be the central corridor, as I mentioned, and then we would have all of the staff stuff down here, which includes, for each side, say 3 rooms, which would be a security room to supply everything that needs to be secured in here. So things like door control, the CCTV, and the phone taps. One room will be a staff room. The other room will be a guard, a kennel. Yes, room, kennel. And then that'll be for each one. Again, trying to make it very modular. But it means that I've got all this room. So, yeah, okay. What I'm going to do is have it as... If I just make this parole, because this is a weird size. Let me check parole. I'm sure it's a 5 by 5. Parole is a 5 by 5 with a visitor table. Right, okay, that's... Okay. Plan then. Plan. Remove that. Make it a 5. Yep. The reason I'm doing it that way is because it means that if that 5 by 6 is not sufficient, or if that works, then we can leave it. If it's not, I can do that and I can get another cell in. I'm leaving it open for future me. So we'll continue on. Let me just remove some of this. So we've got a 6 by 6 for generic room, another 6 by 6 for generic room, and then let's bring this down. This is actually bigger than I budgeted for, but let's see. We've got the space. At least as long as I've got some space down here for the rooms in the staff-only areas, then I'll be okay. I am probably going to go with green energy, by the way, which requires electrical. Solar's there. I think the wind turbines are... I think they are 3 or 4. I'm just going to say it's that. And I'm going to say I'm going to give myself that space all the way along, because as the facility expands... Let me just max speed out so it actually goes to daytime. As the facility expands and requires more power, we get more power by gaining more room and expanding along with the green energy. Again, that's what I had in mind. So that room there, that should be fine. These are all good. This has come down. So you want another 6x6, which is that. And okay, that's pretty much where things are going to be, which means that this comes along here. So there's not much of a change when it comes to the sizing. I'm just sort of squeezing them in where I can. It does, however, mean that this will require a corridor to get to them. Hang on, let me just do this. And I don't know why all those have not been exported, by the way. They're definitely in exports. How curious. Okay, so this is where the room's going to be. Let me just run the pathing in, the planning in, like so. So there's the rooms, right? So that's the rooms. So then I want another room here, which can be that size and that size. There is, however, a huge amount of space wasted here. So there's a couple of ways I can go about changing that. I can change it to a little bit smaller, like so. It means the corridor, it'll be a bit cramped, which I don't like. Another one, and this is what a lot of people don't do. So I can do that. And I can have, say, doors here. Yeah? So that could be visitation. This could be whatever. Huge amount of space you've gained. How do you get access to these? Well, there's never anything stopping you doing that. Going through one room into the other. There's no reason why you can't do that, for the most part. Maybe, yes, there's some security problems and such. I would argue that if these rooms have issues with security, one metal detector will cover all of these, and one dog smelling, say there, sniffing about, will detect anything that comes through all these rooms anywhere. So that's realistically not terrible. It's a bit messy, I'll give you that, but there's no reason why we can't. Other than, like I say, the potential security risk. The other option is to do that, but say you lose some space. You could also do that and have this as one room as well, and have the entrance there, and then you gain all that space. So there's plenty of options for it. I am going to do that for the sake of mainly visibility. However, I am not opposed to changing it at all. Let me just run this one in here. This is planning. This is why we plan stuff in the first place. Okay. So we have doors here. I'm going to put doors there as well. Double doors coming through. Because the idea is this. We should be able to just clone the full thing. Even if it's not correct, things down here should be. And I'm happy to clone it, wait, and then rip stuff out and put stuff back in, as opposed to did previously, which was basically prisons made of cones, made of diamonds, that you can't clone. Okay, so what's going to be in the centre? Well, naturally, canteen, yard, common room. Yeah, fairly simple. I'm going to put the pathways in, just so we can see what they look like. That's why I really like these bits here. On this side, I quite like them, because they work out. And then in the centre, you can have your canteen, and you can have a canteen and you can have a yard, and the yard should be enough so stuff can't be thrown in. I could wall it off and do that. There is absolutely no need to. I think I'll just split it down the middle and have this side as canteen, this side as canteen, this side as yard, maybe. In terms of the cells, I'm probably going to do that. Oh no, actually no, wait. I don't know what the ratios for family cells and stuff. I don't know what the ratios are. Okay. Fine. Right, let me get back onto this section. So in this section, well, let's quickly cover this. Rooms wise, cells, yes. Hauling cells, no. Solitary, come back to that. Dormitory not having any. Family cells, yes. Family cells are 4x4. Oh, and he's just realised it, hasn't he? Right. How am I going to fix that? How am I going to fix that? I thought there were 3, and I didn't check. Minimum size of 4x4. Now, I could do that. Almost certainly I am going to do that. It means that these cells will not have the external... It means they're not going to have the external window. So we can potentially never get... Can we get the highest grading? I think we can. I don't think you need a window to the outside to get the full grading. Can't place it. Can't tell. Because things can grade up to 15, and if you have a window, it's +1. If you have a... yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure, because if I was to do that, we'd have an external window for all of these, and... is there a solution to that problem? There is... It just means that everything would be off to one side, which is not what I meant. The other option is to completely shift everything along. Let me see how much work that would entail. If I was to bring this along here and down, minimum size of 4x4, because these are family cells. I don't think we'll need more than that. Having 6. Would we? Would we need more than them? I could then put another one in. Then we're just a little bit. It's a little bit over here. Then the nursery is no minimum size. That could be a nursery. I could also expand it down and around if need to. But I don't think I'm going to need more than, say, 8 cells. I could always place a nursery elsewhere or extend down here and along. Okay. That's also wrong. 4x4 takes up a lot. And again, it's this bit here. Testing underway. Quick build, custom, cloning. No, quick build. I got it right first time. Basic. And we want in wall rusty because it's cheap. Why am I building this? For grading. But I won't be able to see grading until I've got the warden. Doesn't matter, cancel. Get them resources back. Alright. Bulldoze that. Oh, that might have caused some issues. Let me just put some storage here. Because I think that is not right. Oh dear. Something's happened there. Right, getting back to this. Nightmare. Might have to be that. Alright. I definitely want to shift this along. That's just how it's going to be. Okay, a little bit of time planning and 3 mental breakdowns. Here we have our newly redesigned / expanded facility. In the middle we have the family cells, which should be legitimate. The nursery is a bit too big and or small, depending on whether we have an additional family cells in here, but they can expand into the middle. We obviously have moved things out, so these rooms are... Hang on, are they wrong? 7. No, they're fine. It just looked wrong. I'm second guessing everything now. I'm sort of stuck in my own head with this. And that is roughly what we've got. Okay, I'm not going to make any more changes to that because we will get onto the very much over planning side of it. Let's go down and we're going to plan, like, say, the staff area bit. So this is where we have the area for basically all of the support stuff for here. So it's going to be several things. So we are going to have a security room, which the minimum size for a security room is a 4x4. So it will be that. But I'm going to make it one larger still, and it's going to be in, say, the 6x6 or something like that. So that's going to be our security room because we need things like the CCTV, we need door control servos, we need the... what else? CCTV, dot control servos, and the phone taps, so that'll be fine. Off to one side, well, both sides actually, we're going to have things like a kennel. So kennels would fit in here. So we'll put, say, a kennel. It doesn't really matter the sizings, because they're all going to fit in this sort of size anyway. So something along those lines. However, on each side, I obviously do need an area that's like predominantly staff only for like the offices. That's the only things I really need, offices and stuff. So we've got a area here that could be, say, a kennel, because I'll probably have a lot of kennel. We then need a staff room, which doesn't need to be too large, so we can have, a staff room in there. And then we need, well, ideally, I want some solitary as well. So I'm thinking solitary I can put on, say, this side, like so. And that could be our solitary for here. We then have a weird room at the back, which I don't know what that's going to be. Although I did think about maybe some sort of infirmary. So they'll come down and go into infirmary, but I'm not entirely sure. Is that far too many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 32, 4, 6, 8. So nearly... yeah, not even 50 prisoners. That should be alright then. Maybe a bit too much, but we shall see. I can always repurpose some of it. And then on this side it comes down and then to this. So we got security and then staff are only, and then let's just say infirmary. And if that's a 8, then it should be fine. Perfect, it is an 8. Although, I guess we're going to have doors there. Doors in here, doors in here. I don't plan on having an armory on this facility, but you never know. I guess I'm just going to go with that, so everyone has to come through here, although I don't like the idea of them going through the infirmary to get to the staff room to the infirmary. So maybe I place the door there and place the door there. That should be fine. And then walls across there, walls across there. And we can probably do that as well. Okay. So we'll have that. Let me just go back to the rooms and we'll work on that one. So we've got family cells. Yes, that's right. Canteen and kitchen. I'm probably going to have the kitchen on site in one of these rooms. We have in showers that are probably going to be in their cells because otherwise it does mean too many changes and, you know, having a shower in there. I can downgrade it if need be, although, as I said at the start, I didn't want to purposely downgrade it. We have no bits for officers, but I'm just going to say officers are going to go around this bottom right area here, and then the rest of it will go in. So they'll be fine. They're a secondary thought. Infirmary, we're going to have, like I say, around here. I can also put it in one of these separate areas here, because like I said, I don't want to provide too many amenities because I want the inmates to aspire to sort of level up to a higher grade. And let me speed this up because it's just really dark. We have no workshop. I don't plan on having that, certainly for the first bit, maybe the second expansion onwards. Go back to common room, yes. Laundry, it can go in one of these. Again, opportunity to work and such. Visitation, one of these rooms. Cleaning cupboard, same thing. Kennel, we're going to have down... Oh, I said kennel and I've changed this, haven't I? Okay, I'll probably put one of these to kennel and have a little bit of that. Say kennel in there. Something like that. Should be fine. Let me check kennel. I think it is a 5. Kennel's a 5 by something. There you go, it'll fit in there perfectly. No bother. What else did we want? We want to go back to this one. We have staff room, yes. Library, one of these side rooms here. Forestry, no. Classroom, side rooms. Chapel, same thing. Parole, yes, we have budgeted for that. Reception I haven't got, so I'm going to have to place it somehow, but the cloning side of it will be a bit problematic. Let's see how we get on with that one. I might just have to have a separate room here for it. In fact, I will just build that now. Let's just say in here, that's going to be a reception. Just going to put a wall across there. Then we want the offices, which could be offices around here. So come in there and then it'll actually go back round and out, because otherwise, like I say, the design's going to be all over the place. Let's go back over to this one. Nursery we've planned for. Yes, it's going to go in here, which can be outside. You can have an outdoor nursery, apparently. Don't know if I'm going to do that, but you can have an outdoor nursery. What else do we have? Padded cells, none of that. No. Gym, no. That's a 7 by 7, so it could go in here because it is a 7, but I don't know. Fruit orchard and farming field, meeting room. The first two, no. Meeting room, potentially. Again, we have made these a 5 by... well, these are 6 by 6, so they can go in there. And a cinema, yeah, in the sides. Okay. Fine. Now, if I'm correct, which is not the case most of the time, we should be able to fit another one of these in because it should be about 40. It is exactly 40 by something. Doesn't really matter what the something is, but 40 would be there. So the middle would be what, there? Let me just check that. 19 and 19. I got that absolutely perfect. And it was more luck than judgment. So that is the middle. So, yeah, we will have the cells. Hang on. Let me see if I can get that right. There we go. The cells expand to there. Doors in here. Doors in here and here. Like so. And all this is inside. So there's very little outside. Okay. I'm going to leave it there for now because this has already been a lot of planning for not a lot of concrete results. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. That's been a bit of Prison Architect. The idea is there. It's not fully formed, admittedly. However, money's good and we've only gained money as we progressed on. There are some changes to be made, but I think that concept should work. The idea of having a cell block that we can clone and expand to. So, if nothing else, this section down here should be fine. Like, we can clone this bottom bit, and then the cells will just require a bit of change. But I can, because it's squares, because I've gone with the Borg level of building, this block here, this cube, I can just copy this bit and clone it, copy this bit and clone it, and then make the changes as necessary. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Let's see how we get on. Again, this is version 1 of the planning. Next episode, we'll crack on with some building. We'll do all the usual stuff when it comes to grants, so things like basic detention centre, we're going to go for green energy, all that sort of stuff, administration centre. You get the idea. So there's lots of time to make alterations here. Let's see how we get on. As always, hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.